Clap on 1, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Excellent. Alrighty.
That's weird. Seemed a little laggy on my end, but that's fine. It'll all sync up.
By hook or by crook. What'd you do this week?
I am still healing from work. That's what I've done this week. Feel like physically and mentally, emotionally, I'm fine. Like, I didn't understand everyone else being like near tears by the end of their shift. I was like, we can go like a few more hours, guys. Come on. They did not appreciate that level of enthusiasm.
Had a busy week then?
Yeah. We got sold out. Like, everything got bought out.
Oh, wow.
Down to like just a couple items left. So we were like, all right, there's like 2 things left on the menu. We might as well just call it now. We were only like an hour away from closing for the day anyways, but we still were supposed to have 2 more days being open for the weekend. So that's a great sign, but it also, we're very challenged space-wise in our kitchen. So it's going to be interesting going forward on how we're going to work the truck for that to keep things in stock properly. Yeah, that's part of why I'm supposed to be having a little meeting with my boss today.
Well, I mean, it's going to be winter here. I mean, it is winter here, and, I'm assuming it is in Michigan. Just to keep everything outside. It's cold enough.
God, I wish we could be that lax with things. We're actually supposed to be having a warmer than average winter coming up. We'll see, though. That one snowstorm aside, it's actually been pretty nice and like almost mid-50s every day. So I'm liking that. Yeah, that can stay around as long as it needs to. But yeah. First weekend open went great. We'll be back open Friday through Monday indefinitely going forward. So we'll just see. Yeah. I have a feeling we'll also probably start being open on Thursdays, but maybe not until the winter's done, Got to get through the slow season. But it was a really nice change of pace to see inside of Fetch, because there were maybe maybe a dozen like regular patrons, and everyone else was a new face that was coming in just to try food, but also got beer. Are you listeners that can't see what he's doing, but it looks like he's trying to test the direction of the wind for tracking?
I think I have a draft in my apartment. Okay. And I can hear the traffic outside, and I feel a breeze, but all my windows are closed.
But you have the weird like angle stuff, right? So is one of them just like partially tilted?
All right, let me go look.
Okay. We can get to the bottom of this.
I don't know if that fixed anything.
Okay.
I have a French balcony, and then I have a door to nowhere, which is nice in the summer, especially. Yeah. But my dog is still insistent there should be a balcony out there for him to go on. And every time I open it, he has to be like, "Oh, let's go outside." And I'm like, "Well, we're 5 stories above the ground." So, yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Sounds like things are going well.
Things are going well. We got to change a few things off the menu. I think I'll know more when I talk to my boss today at some point, presumably during this recording. But I think, hopefully, 2 hours late for a phone call. So. Fun. Anywho, I think tacos are going to come off the menu. We just didn't. We only moved enough when we did a taco special and did like a tray of them, 3 of each type, and did it for like half off the cost. And then we did a fuck ton of tacos. But it's such a pain in the ass to get them going anyways, because I'm toasting each individual shell like as we go and like salting them and then we're prepping them. And it's just slowing everything down a little bit more than we wanted, even though all the ingredients we're using are just like, we season up a thing here or there a little different. We've got a carnitas mix. It's used for our sliders. It's used for our tacos. We just season it a little bit different, right? That's great. That's a useful way to like keep things, thin. It's just doesn't work. Like we got enough shit. We don't need the tacos as well.
Yeah, I have to say, speaking as a consumer and not a maker of food, I generally do not order tacos at a place where tacos are not the primary thing they make.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a taco place, I will love I will love to order your tacos. If you are not a taco place, I probably won't bother ordering the tacos.
I will say, like, don't sleep on now that you can't order them anymore and you're not in town. The El Pastor carnita tacos that we make are really good. I made a banging pineapple salsa for him, but whatever. I think we're just gonna turn that into a slider.
Next time I travel to Muskegon, Michigan, 2 weeks ago, I'll order that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's good. I'll keep one set aside for you.
Yeah, or you will have already kept one set aside for me.
Yes. Yes. Oh God. But yeah, I mean, everything else is going really good. We just have to hone things in a little better since it's just two of us, But
yeah, I mean, you got a small space and a small staff. You gotta food truck that,
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about food service. I do know taco trucks are small.
Yes.
And they just do tacos.
Yeah, food trucks are very small. I've actually been looking at a nice food truck. I don't know if I mentioned it on here before, but there's a old school like yellow bread truck of like a really good size. And they only want a few grand for it. And it looks good. And if I wasn't in the middle of like starting this up with someone, I think that's what I'd be doing right now is throwing some money into that and getting a food truck ready for spring. But, oh well. I think I'm going to do at least a food cart at the farmer's market next year. Just make a little extra money on the side.
That'd be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Do some of my own dishes.
Sell your maple syrup.
Do the maple syrup as well. Yep. Tap a bunch of trees this year. I got all the equipment ready to go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just a few more months. You do that, March, probably? February?
Yeah, it just depends on the weather, but yeah, end of February to middle of March is like the start of it. If the weather is warm enough, it might be like early February this year. It's just as soon as we like have a good period of winter freezing, and then we get into those days of overnight freeze, like deep, 28 degrees to like a 40, 42 degree day. That's when like it's time to harvest.
I see.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Hopefully the milder winter doesn't affect the amount that I'll be able to get this year. Because like 2 years ago, I barely was able to get any. We just had like a week and a half of a season tops. And it was just really bad. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. So, what have you been up to this week?
Yeah, just working on. It was just it was a hard episode to edit.
Sure.
But then I went and spent all the money at IKEA, so I've been assembling IKEA furniture, and yeah, I bought a futon, which is really nice, and got it all set up, and then I had to put the cover on it. It took me like an hour and a half to put the futon together and get the mattress out and all that jazz. And there's a cover, like you had to like stretch it out and then iron it so that it would like expand a bit, and then you had to like stretch it over the mattress, and it had like all these like Velcro and zippers and stuff to like, it was like furniture bondage equipment, and it took me like half a day, like literally 4 hours to get like, I mean, I know that's not literally half a day, but you know what I mean, to get that on there.
And I know you don't mean it that way, but when I hear furniture bondage equipment, I do think like a sofa skirt that makes it look basically like it's wearing bondage pants.
No, that is what I meant.
Okay. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page there then.
Yeah, I didn't mean like furniture for bondage. I meant bondage for furniture. But yeah, then I bought myself my birthday present for myself, a MIDI controller.
Nice.
Which I don't know how to use, so
hell yeah.
That's been a experiment of trying to plink on that thing and find software that I want to use for it and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So, but that has not been fun. That has just been slightly frustrating. And I'm leaving for America in like 2 weeks now, so
Yeah.
I have a lot of cleaning and stuff to do.
Sure.
Because my mom's going to come and stay here while I'm in America.
That makes sense. Keep an eye on the dog.
No, I mean, my mom's in America. She's going to come. The original thought was like, my mom's going to come here for Christmas to see my sister's kid. My sister here who just had a kid. Right? And then, but then her husband, my stepfather, will come as well. But that means my other sister, who's in the United States with a son who's like 3 or 4 years old, she's still doing her internship because she's a doctor, so she doesn't have time. So my mom was helping my sister watch the kid, but now she's not going to be there. So I'm going to go to America while my mom's here. We're basically just switching houses for the holidays. Mm-hmm. It's like that movie, The Holiday, but without like the romance.
I don't know that movie.
I think that's the movie I'm thinking of. Yes.
Great.
That's what I'm thinking of.
I don't know that movie, but good. I'm glad you successfully referenced it.
Sorry, Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet. 2 women troubled with guy problems swap homes in each other's countries, where they each meet a local guy and fall in love.
Oh, God. I vaguely remember that coming out. Not for any like reason. It's just like I heard about the premise, then I was like, yeah, that sounds like a movie I'm not going to go see.
Yeah, it's got Kate Winslet and Jack Black hooking up. That's a thing that happens.
That's in movies. Right. He was in it. It's like right off of him doing what was the one where like he made the poop go away, and everyone was like, "But where's the poop go?"
I'm not familiar with that. I know, was it School of Rock?
No, it was also around that same time, but it's a dark comedy.
Yeah. Orange County, was that was in the movie he was in?
Also, not around that time. That was more like Tom Green's like height of era. I don't even think, was he in that one?
Tom Green was.
I don't think he was in. No, it was Colin Hanks and him, but it feels like a Tom Green vibe movie. Orange County does.
Certainly, yeah. The poster certainly did.
Yeah.
Soundtrack I remember being pretty good though. He was in the Neverending Story 3.
He was one of his first roles as a bully. He was like the bully, or a bully.
And also in that episode of the X-Files where he was was an arcade attendant, which segues perfectly into our episode today about Arcade Paradise.
Hey, welcome to the Save State. We fucking nailed this one.
This is a podcast where we play video games and talk about it. Yes. And the video game we played is about an arcade attendant.
That's right, Arvid.
It's called Arcade Paradise.
Thank you, Mike. Hey. Yes, it is. This is kind of... I always was somewhat jealous, or I should say not envious in like a negative way, but really thought it was cool when I knew friends whose parents had their own small business, and then like my buddy like in middle school started working for his parents' like window store. I don't know, like I guess that's what you'd call it. He had like windows and window pane accessories, right?
Like a showroom of windows.
Yeah. But he started working there and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then like I remember being young enough at one point where I like wondered when I was going to start working at my dad's job. But he's like a corporate guy, so that doesn't work that way. I think this might have been the ideal one though. There's something about a laundromat that I've always enjoyed. We had a couple coin operated ones near me, but I'm sorry, go ahead and take away with the premise.
Yeah, so this game you play as the nominal assistant manager of a laundromat, or as they sometimes slip in laundrette, tasked by your overbearing father to try and turn it into a functional business, while you furtively build a arcade in the back room, expanding it and over time by making money from the laundry and then spending it on arcade machines, which make more money, and so on and so forth. It's basically like one of those simulation games, but with like a lot of time management aspects built into it, where you have to find time to do all the laundry chores, but at the same time have time to play the games because you get bonus money for playing the games, and the more you play games, the more those games make money. So it's kind of a management game in that way, but it's more like, I don't know. I think it kind of belongs in that same oeuvre of like your power wash simulators and that sort of thing. But yes, laundromats. Tell me about them. Your experiences.
No, I just really enjoyed them as a youth. Not just as a kid, but like as a young adult out on my own. You don't always want to do laundry back at home, right? Sometimes you want to go just do it yourself, but you don't have a place, so you go find a coin-operated one nearby. And it was before we had like phones that had all the entertainment we'd ever want on them. So there was just a TV in a corner, and you'd get into a conversation with someone, and sometimes there's like a coffee station or something, and you just hang out. That's what I would do. It was different. It was a different time. Look, some time ago, we didn't have technology, right? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people listening to this that don't remember that time.
Besides washing machines.
Yes. Yes. And we had to make our own entertainment and talk to each other, talk to strangers, just for like, not because you're going to become long friends, like lifetime friends, and like exchange phone numbers and catch up another time, but just because that's another human that you can use as a sounding board just to pass the time.
You have never sounded older than you do right now.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Laundromats are just park benches, but with like a task you're completing.
Yes. I don't remember there ever being arcade machines in the laundromats I've gone to, and my God, that would have changed everything.
Yeah, see, I went to a lot of laundromats when I was a kid, because we moved a lot, and we didn't always have a washing machine when we lived, and, lots of other stuff. But I remember going to laundromats, and I would say most of them in my childhood had a machine at least, if not two. And, that was, your mom got like, $10 worth of quarters for the laundry and had a couple spare, and you stuck them in and played some games. It was the way to do things. My first memory of playing an arcade machine actually was probably, well, maybe not my first one. One of my earliest memories of playing an arcade machine was probably in a laundromat. Played Metal Slug, I think.
Hell yeah.
Was in a laundromat. And then so I mean, like, to me this made a lot of sense, like that's what you do. You go to the laundromat, you play some games. I may imagine that as arcades kind of started to, well, not disappear, but become, like, as your smaller arcades disappeared and your Dave and Buster's kind of took over the world of arcades in like the 2000s, those machines probably became too expensive to just kind of have in the corner of your laundromat. I assume that like your video pokers and that sort of probably still exist there, but yeah, I mean, we didn't really go to I didn't really go to laundromats until after I was an adult, so I don't really know what it looked like. But yeah, they're a good place to play games, and this game had a lot of games. I think it was really impressive how many different games they created in this game.
All these,
it was a fun experience.
It's it's really interesting because they could have done something like this could have been a completely different video game. This did not have to have this kind of framework to showcase all of those. It didn't even have to have a digital arcade space that you could have walked around in. I have purchased plenty of like Retro 30 collection, and it's just a bunch of old games or facsimiles of those old games, right? Made by someone who's just like, hey, I know how to make these basic games. Let me just put out a play pack. That's all they really needed to do, and it feels like that's where they started with. And then whether they'd had another game they'd been working on or something, just this beautiful fusion happened there. I really liked that. Yeah, so many cabinets in this to play with. Such an enjoyable thing. I wish you had more time to play with them in the early stages of the game.
Yes.
Like, that's my main complaint, because I, as someone who has gone to a lot of coin-operated laundromats, maybe I'm just in the wrong state.Maybe this is like Oregon, New Jersey laws where you're not allowed to pump your own gas.
Same thing.
But yeah, the operator, the owner of the laundromat is doing your laundry for you, and it's like a lot of socks and panties popping out like as imagery as you move things around. It's like,
like, why is the person running the laundromat doing the laundry? I feel like that. I mean, maybe it's so. This game's actually made in Britain, by the way. I looked them up. The developer's based in Newcastle, which will explain some of the slip-ups. Like, they refer to the bathroom as. I mean, this is certainly set in North America.
The water closet,
if not. Yeah, the bathroom is the WC. Sometimes the your father who calls in on to check on you occasionally, voiced by The Witcher's Doug Cockle, doing not the Witcher voice for once. Because he'll do that for anything. Like, I have a GPS thing on Euro Truck Simulator that's just in the Witcher voice. But he'll call it a laundrette a couple times, and I'm like, that's not what we call that. So I thought for a while maybe it was Canadian.
I thought Canadian. I thought like Vancouver or something was the vibes I was getting. But
But yeah, no, I don't know why. And then if someone's doing your laundry for you, why are you hanging around the laundromat?
And
if you just like,
why is there like a coin change machine then? Because wouldn't you just like pay them like a flat rate and they do it based on like, I don't know, weight? Like, you'd put up like, you'd toss all of your laundry into like a scale basket and they'd go, oh, it weighs this much, it's going to cost this much to do it. Like, I don't know.
That is how a laundry service works. I don't know. Yeah. Like, my headcanon was that some people in the laundromat did their own laundry, but like, because your dad owns all these local businesses, you have like a big extended family that's just always dropping off their laundry. It's like, oh yeah, let what's his face's kid do it. He's running the laundromat today. I'll slip him $30
only when you're not looking.
Off the laundry. Yeah, exactly.
Like, it would be clean table, no baskets, and then I would turn around to check like a change thing real quick and whip back around and it's just full of baskets again. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah,
I even found myself sometimes like pacing around, always keeping an eye on that spot just so it wouldn't fill back up because I didn't have the room or the time to do anything with it.
Yeah, you see, I gave up on trying to be like super, like I would put in however much laundry was there into the washers, and then I would leave until the washers were done. Even if there was laundry waiting there, I wouldn't touch it until the loads I put in the washer. So I never had more than 3 loads going in the washer or the dryer.
Smart.
And then if I had less than 3, I would just do like a 360 no scope until another one popped up. And then yeah, so I like early on it was super frustrating because you basically have like stuff you had to do every 20-30 seconds. But when you kind of did it my way, you could play a game for almost 3 minutes without having to do any more laundry,
which is pretty much an entire playthrough of most of the games.
Yeah,
I mean, depending on a few that like just keep going up higher and higher in stage. A lot of the games you can enjoy in like 2 to 3 minute segments.
Yeah, so like a lot of the games are like direct old arcade games, but like tweaked a bit. Like there's one that's like Pac-Man, but also Grand Theft Auto, but mostly it's just Pac-Man.
That one's dope.
But there are some like newer ones, and like there are ones that feel like they were made in like that kind of WarioWare quick game kind of like, oh, I can do this in a few seconds. But then there were definitely some other ones like that really you needed like 10 minutes to play to get like a good playthrough. And while most of the games are very, very good, all of the like bar games, like the ones that required some kind of real physics sort of engine, were absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to like hate on the game because the game is very good, but especially coming from the Yakuza games and trying to play pool or darts in this, it is,
or just
gave me a whole new level.
Air hockey, like all of it was just like, no, I didn't care for it.
Well, the digital air hockey I managed to kind of figure out, but like the regular air hockey was impossible. I literally could not win at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I had that set because all the other things you can do is you can set the difficulty for each game you have. So, like, if you have a game that's very popular, you can set the difficulty to very hard so that you make more money off of it, so you have to make more tries. But if it's a game that you try to want to, like, get more people to play, then you can put it on easy.
Yeah. And then you have your own challenges as well for each game. So you've got this little PDA that you walk around with that lets you set the prices and the difficulty for each cabinet that you're working with, and also has like a checklist of tasks that you need to use or complete, and that will not only change the popularity of the game, but in return then make you more money off it, unlock new tasks to, achieve for the game, and it's got a nice little loop with that.
Yeah, this game has a very satisfying gameplay loop. Once I figured out that laundry pattern, like I was having I was getting a lot of satisfaction out of the grind.
Yeah,
I will say this game is quite grindy.
Yes.
I am a person who is very tolerant of grind. I like a good amount of grind, but this game could have had maybe like 20% less grind. I felt like there were definitely just some days where it feels like, why am I doing this? I only need like $50 more to the next machine.
Yep.
Because that's really like the story progression is as you buy machines, you can get more upgrades, and then you can build like to expand the arcade and then buy more machines and so on and so forth. It definitely kind of felt like it could have been a little faster with some of that.
It could have. I think the speed really kicked in for me once I got to a point where my arcade was making more money than my laundromat. I purposely decided to, at that point, take a big hit financially, and I would only pop in laundry at the beginning of the day, and then I wouldn't dry it until the day was closed and there was no more coming in. And then I would just play games in the arcade all day long and set the prices and collect the money there. Because at that point, I was making hundreds and hundreds of dollars in just arcade cabinets. So I didn't need to run the laundromat anymore. And once I focused enough on that, then I was making more than those two combined would have made. So there definitely was like that flip over of progression.
Yeah. No, I couldn't stop myself from doing the laundry. Just like the fact that I couldn't like let laundry sit there. But mostly it's like there was a couple times where I literally missed the progression step that day due to being short like $20 or $30, and I was just like, if I just done one more load of laundry, I would have made it.
If I'd found one more wad of gum somewhere, just desperately looking around trying to find some.
Yeah.
Please, shitter, break down.
Pick up all the trash. Yeah, exactly. You get paid for picking up trash, which is not usually how maintenance works. Or
no,
no,
it's usually like a punishment if you have to do it.
Or like it's just a general like money sink that all businesses have to do. But yeah, that was nice to make money off of throwing things out.
Yeah, they even turned that into a little game. Once your trash bag is full, you can't take it out until then, but once your bag is full, you do this little sequence where you leave the laundromat, you go to the dumpster out back, and you throw it in, and it's some 80s voice that comes on saying like tubulars or radical or some kind of thing like that.
It's interesting. Like there's a lot of like these little things that are gamified in like the player's eyes, like taking it like the trash. There's like a little mini game when you pull the gum off. The mini like cleaning the bathrooms, a little mini game. Debugging a machine's a mini game. Like even opening the safe is a mini game, which makes sense, because it's a video game. But like this, I'll put it on my like high school English teacher hat for a second. Not that that's a thing I have, but it shows like a progression of the character. Like this is a person who like the protagonist that you play as is like someone who views life as a video game, right? And now given this opportunity to run a laundromat, they are making, putting machines in there. But as you go through the game, you can upgrade different things so that you don't have to do those other games. So by the end of the game, you no longer have to like do the trash games as often or at all. You don't have to do the unlock the safe game. All those little like debugging, the games that the player was making them. Yeah, so all the games that the character Ashley, I think is the character's name, has been creating for themselves have been replaced by the games that they have purchased for their arcade. It is, not that that's actually a real. I don't know if that was the intention of the developer, but it was an interesting thought I had.
It's,
this person needed games in their life.
Did you ever do that when you were first starting out in the workforce, like kind of gamify in your own mind, like the work you did? Because I know I did back in the day.
Oh, I do that today.
Yeah.
Like, I still do that. Like when I'm doing laundry or vacuuming or whatever. Like I still do this exact thing.
Yep. I liked that. Although I will say the safe minigame, worst minigame ever, like hated it. And it was the absolute first thing I changed about the way everything worked was the safe.
Yeah.
And I got that watch.
Yeah. The chore I hated the most was the emptying of the coin hoppers. I don't know if it was a bug or if it was just me or my computer, but like there was so much like just like little pixel bitching about like trying to get like my the aimer to aim right at the hopper on some of the machines. I just was like I even went into the accessibility settings and turned on the crosshair, and I'd be looking right at the frickin' thing, and like it wouldn't. I would just press E and I'd end up playing the game or whatever. So I was like having to like get it at weird angles and stuff. I will say that I was playing this and this is a Unity-based first-person game, and I was playing it at 144 hertz refresh rate. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking about that now as maybe being a part of the problem. I don't know why that would cause the problem, but I just could not get the right angle on those things.
I had it on a couple where to the point where I actually moved machines around, and that seemed to fix it. It seemed like some machines in some spots like just didn't, like the angle they would sit at didn't want to cooperate with that targeting. But yeah, as soon as I'd move a machine, that problem would go away. So I don't think it was just on that.
Like there were some machines, like I mean, some of the machines you can't move. Like most of the machines you can, but like the darts game you can't move. The pool table. The one I had the most trouble with was actually the foosball table. Oh god, I hated that. I mean, there were a lot of games in here that were a lot of fun, and I don't want to talk about them too much because actually, spoilers for today's quiz. It is very heavily linked to this game. So, but like the foosball table that you can buy, I thought that was. I mean, I don't like foosball in general, but like, it was terrible.
I thought I liked foosball. As a concept until my folks, when I was a teenager, went ahead and got one at like a garage sale once, and we got it back, cleaned it all up, and like started playing. And it was fun for a little while, but like anytime anyone wanted to play foosball, that's all you heard through the whole house. It's a very, very loud game.
Yeah, it is a thing for bored drunk people, and that is its only purpose.
In a loud place. Like if you were playing it in a quiet home, like it just, oh, it's horrible. Horrible.
But it was a lot of fun. If you like games, if you liked playing Flash games like back in the day, like me, I spent every time I was in the computer lab at school on like Newgrounds or whatever, and I would just play like 5 minutes of a game, then switch to another one, and 5 minutes of that thing, and switch to another one. If that was something you did, then you'll probably like this game a lot. I don't know if it like captures the arcade experience so well, but it certainly captures the arcade like vibe really well. Maybe they go a little overboard with the 90s nostalgia.
I don't know. As soon as like the decorations really started to kick in, that carpeting and everything, I was like, oh, the carpeting, God, yes.
Absolutely.
This takes me right back to going to Wonderland when I was a kid. That was our local arcade place. So fun. God, I loved it. So much neon.
Yeah, like it's just like it's one of those things where like when they do a movie or a TV show or whatever set in the past, and like everything is like maximum 60s or like 70s or whatever, so like everyone has to be the most of that decade. And this I think kind of did that. Like every bit of the arcade is like 80s 90s nostalgia stuff, and then like all the clothing, when you occasionally do see an NPC, like they're all just like grunged out, or some of them have like raver gear. But again, they kind of pick from a big.
But that also
swath
now
of
makes more
period.
sense. Like the clothing aesthetics make more sense now that I know this is a UK based game. So they were looking at like
exactly.
UK clothing from the 90s.
Exactly. Yeah, this is much more like rave scene stuff than like what we would have saw.
Yeah. That was a really interesting thing too. When I first played it, like I was surprised by how well detailed the game was. For being a game about like playing arcade cabinets, I thought it was going to be a lot more minimalist. And then I was like, shit, like they've put the detail into like a sock hanging off of like this little counter, and like it looks really nice. Like if you looked away really quick, it kind of looks like just a photo of a laundromat. Like an old ass laundromat.
Yeah.
And then the moment I like walk towards one of them and they just become this like blister of polygons, I was like, all right, so that's where they saved space memory wise.
Yeah, no, like, and then when you can like kind of catch them out of the corner of your eye from a distance, like they're not the nicest models, but like,
No.
what are you going to do?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's not the point of it.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just there to just kind of imply that you're not the only person in this building.
Yep.
And there's some nice little details, like as your arcade is more successful, like the neighborhood and buildings around your arcade get nicer and nicer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess it's implying that you're like gentrifying the district,
stimulating the local economy. Sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's true. It certainly doesn't look like they look like they're old like industrial buildings. They don't look like they're necessarily like housing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a well-made game mostly.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to play.
Yeah, it's got a good story to it. Did you get to the end?
Yes, I got to the credits. I didn't know how much we wanted to talk about it. I mean, basically, you have your dad's shitty.
Yeah.
Like, that's really the plot of it. And I was glad that they didn't like try and make it so that you like make your dad proud of you and then he loves you again, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say what happens, but like
it's the father learns a lesson more than you, the player, does. But it's still a good story to be told. I thought it was enjoyable. It actually got me at that one moment where I was like, "This is how it ends." Fuck. And then it turns around. It's a good story. I enjoyed that. They again didn't need to have any of that into essentially a retro arcade games collection game.
Yeah. No, absolutely. This could have been very different, but it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to show you. Is that how the phrase is? I can never remember. Yes, that like how little like of a narrative bend you need to a game to like just have the narrative be the thing that makes you want to continue with the grind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been thinking, and this is spoilers for later when I do World of Warcraft, or when I talk about what we've been playing, which has been World of Warcraft, what I've been playing.
Oh no.
But like you really like. You don't need that much story to like make that grind worth it. At least I don't.
Yeah.
Like just knowing that there's going to be like, I keep doing this and I'll get another couple of lines from Doug Cockle is, that's worth it. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I also get to play these cool games while I'm doing it. Which is fun.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we segue directly into the quiz from here? Because I feel that doing the quiz as close to us talking about the game.
I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay, excellent. So I have a list of 10 games that appear in Arcade Paradise. And I am going to name you the game. And you have to tell me what classic arcade game it is based off of.
Okay.
Not too dissimilar from the one we did just a couple episodes ago.
Okay, yep.
And of course, you having just played them know what they play like. So I can give you a bit of a refresher if you have questions. So I have 10 of them. And the first one is Barkanoid.
Arkanoid.
So yes, that is Arkanoid, but you are a dachshund instead of a polygon.
Yes.
Next up, Bomb Dudes. What is Bomb Dudes?
Bomberman.
That is Bomberman.
Yeah,
yes.
that is Bomberman.
Yeah, I mean, it is basically Bomberman. I don't know if I have anything else to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Shuttlecocks. One word.
Yeah. God, did I play that one? I'm pretty sure it's just a badminton arcade game, but I could be wrong. Oh wait, no, it's Pong. It's Pong based. That's
Pong,
right.
Absolutely,
I did play it for a little bit. It was one of the first games I like completed the tasks real quick and then just didn't touch again. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. Next up, we have Toad and Turtle. It's not the name of a pub.
I don't think I played Toad and Turtle. Huh.
You would have had to unlock. I think you have to unlock all the games.
Oh, I unlocked every cabinet. I didn't get a chance to play all of them because I'd find a favorite and I'd just play the shit out of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't recall what Toad and Turtle was.
Toad and Turtle was the Frogger clone.
I coulda. And what Toad and Turtle? That just all right. Fine, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, no, fair. Next is Meteor Madness.
Okay, that's not the Communist from Mars one, which that was my favorite of those. But I think
I like that one.
That one's going to be Asteroids, right?
That was indeed Asteroids.
Because I was trying to remember, there's so many of those games they're coming in. Then there's the one where they're coming in, but you have to like aim your shot, which is Communist from Mars, and then there's Asteroids. Okay, Asteroids.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Communist from Mars being Missile Command clone. Yeah.
Which I'm assuming means that's not a question.
No, it isn't.
Damn it.
My favorite, as far as I'm aware, didn't have a arcade clone, but I like that stacking game.
Stack Overflow.
Stack Overflow.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, the pixel art and that was really good too. Like the colors. I was having a great time with that. That was one of those ones where I was like, I'm not doing any laundry today. I'm playing this one all day long.
I honestly kind of I probably would buy a collection of just the arcade games, like strip them away from this game. If they just put out like, hey, $15, you can just play all of them. I would do that. Yeah,
I mean, or if it was just that Stack Overflow game, but like instead of it being like 20 levels or whatever it was like 50. I would absolutely buy that.
Yeah.
Next up, Racer Chaser.
Racer Chaser. I think I'm trying to remember name-wise. I think that was the one that was Pac-Man based, right?
Yeah, that was the Pac-Man, but
Grand
with like
Theft
GTA
Auto
graphics.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I wish this was a feature in the actual Pac-Man game. So you're in a car trying to get away from them. Is it a taxi car?
I think it's just like a yellow like race car, like a Lamborghini.
Okay, I think I was thinking a taxi, and now I was thinking like taxi driver, going through with the cops chasing you and everything. But yeah, so the cops are chasing you, and when they catch you, instead of it being over and you've lost a life, you get out of the car, and then
cops
an arrow.
Being the ghosts.
Yes, cops being the ghosts. The cops get out and start chasing you on foot as well. And then an arrow appears to the next getaway car. And if you can make it to it, it just keeps playing the stage, which I thought was a really cool idea.
Yeah, but one problem I had with it was that it gave you a mini map, but it didn't give you the full screen, like with Pac-Man. So it got really hard to tell if you had missed something where it was.
Yeah, you have to clear it like quadrant by quadrant, basically.
Yeah, and like in Pac-Man, the ghosts get faster as you go, and the cops, and it was very hard.
They each have their own personality. Like one of them will chase you, one of them runs away from you, like in real Pac-Man. Yeah.
Also, did you know you can actually shoot at the cops after you get
What?
Yeah.
No?
Well, you don't shoot a gun. You shoot music notes out of your boombox, and it stuns them.
Fucking dope.
I didn't realize that I had played it, so I kept getting that as like one of the games I should play for a task.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until there was like knock out 10 cops like on foot, and I was like, how am I supposed to do that?
How on foot? Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was something you could do.
So
that's cool.
That was a cool feature.
Yeah.
Also, that was one of those games I didn't really like playing, but I ended up having to play it a lot for tasks, and then it always ended up filling up like 3 times a day. Like the hopper would be full.
Yeah.
It had such a high popularity on it.
Yep.
Drove me nuts.
Yep. Yeah, that one's a cash cow, man.
Next one, Strike Gold.
Yeah, I recall Strike Gold. I can't think of a game that it was based off of.
The game was based off of was Mr. Driller.
I don't know Mr. Driller.
This was a bit later. Yeah, so like I remember playing this, but I didn't realize it actually came out in 1999. So, I mean, it would have been, probably in American arcades like in the early 2000s.
It reminds me a lot of like SteamWorld Dig or certain levels of Shovel Knight, where you're working your way down and trying to hit like spots that are valuable without like getting past them. But yeah, Mr. Driller. Huh. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I had only a passing knowledge of Mr. Driller. I didn't actually know that that's what it was. And this one I will accept 2 answers for. So this is Vostok 2093. Vostok Inc. being the developer's other game that they made.
I didn't know that.
They're wondering why there was all this stuff for Vostok, and a lot of the like characters that you see on like posters and stuff in this game are from that other.
This is the one, if I recall, where you it's almost like the game wasn't called Sniper Elite, but it was like one of those tactical shooter games, right, where you're seeing things through a scope. This one's very similar to that. Correct? Am I thinking of a different one, a different arcade game that you have there? I'm
not certain what game that is you're thinking of. This was not that.
It wasn't a scope in the arcade cabinet. Was it a tank that you had? I think you were running through with a tank and trying to knock out targets. You're talking about.
That's not this one.
That's not this one. That's the one I'm thinking of for that one. So help me out with Vostok 2093.
Vostok 2093 is a shmup.
Okay. I don't think I played a lot of that one.
So the wiki says it's a clone of Galaga. But I would specify that it's more likely a clone of Striker 1945, which is a game I actually have played in a laundromat. And that's a World War II based shmup.
So okay.
Yeah, I would say that Striker 1945 is better than Vostok 2093, but I mean that's not really fair comparison.
Yeah.
Although there are definitely games in this that I felt were better than the things that they were cloning. Okay, 2 more. Line Terror.
Right.
This is another one that just made tons of money. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, and I know I know the game. I know it's based off of a real game, but the real game also has just like a weird name to it, doesn't it?
You are very right. It
start with a Q or something.
Absolutely, I'll give you that. It is Kicks.
Kicks.
So
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm vaguely familiar with that one. I think I've played it like once or twice at the old Wonderland.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. That one is another one that I know I had played, but I could not remember the name of it until I looked it up just now for this quiz. And last one, UFO Assault. This one is very hard, and it wasn't actually based on arcade games. This one's kind of cheating. UFO
Assault. This
is the one where you.
It's like Space Invaders, isn't it? Or is it not?
No. So this is the one where you're trying you bomb the buildings as you go back and forth, like you are the Space Invader. Essentially.
Right.
Yeah. So this is based on a game for the Commodore VIC-20, which is the thing that predated the 64, called Blitz.
Interesting.
Which I had never heard of, but I found the game in this very fun.
Yeah, I like the idea of a reverse one. I think I played it a couple times in this one. I did a lot of playing Zombat. Like that was my easily like my favorite.
See, Zombat I disliked the most.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. It's because it took forever to get going, and I felt like it was very frustrating because I felt like there was a lot of lulls when you weren't shooting zombies, and I wanted to shoot zombies, and it took too long to unlock the fun weapons. Like you needed to kill 200 zombies or 150 zombies to unlock a lot of the guns.
And you were doing laundry.
What did you like about it?
I liked
Yes.
that exactly because that's around the time where I abandoned the laundromat side of the business outside of keeping it clean, just so customers would keep coming in. And then I just focused solely on the arcade side, so I could play 5-10 minutes at a time of Zombat. And that was great. Zombat 2.
Zombat 2. I don't know if there's a Zombat 1.
I don't
yeah, it's
think
like
you can
a
get
twin
the
stick
cabinet
shooter
Mm-hmm.
with zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. It felt a lot like a Call of Duty like zombie game because you're getting the upgrades as you go, like moving through areas, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one of the ones I was a little disappointed in was the DDR game they had,
Cyberdance,
which was fun, but they only had 3 songs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not a difficult game. So I only had I played it and then did all the goals, and I just never played it again.
I feel like there's, and I could be misremembering, but I feel like I saw in the Xbox Game Pass side of this that there are other arcade cabinets that you can buy for DLC, and I feel like there are like songs for that also you can buy.
I know there were songs for the jukebox you could buy.
Oh, maybe that's what maybe I'm just mixing the two together. Yeah.
But I could be wrong too. Also, so this game is technically set in 1993. So that limited some of the games. Although DDR definitely did not come out in 1993, so I guess they're not being.
I don't know.
My complaint was that there was no
DDR
3D
came out like in Japan. I don't know.
That's a good question. I guess I could look that up. But no, I was just kind of upset there wasn't any like actual fighters. Like there was no
98.
Tekken or Street Fighter clone.
Yeah. There's one that's basically called like Bad Dudes or something. I was like, oh shit, I remember Bad Dude Brawlers, and it wasn't. Like I kept thinking there was gonna be one.
It was definitely more of a Streets of Rage kind of beat 'em up game.
And did not play well.
Which was okay.
It was fine.
No, the controls were wonky.
Yeah.
I definitely think that these controls were made for someone using a controller. Because some of these games were way too easy on a keyboard, and you could tell. And some of things were just very difficult without a actual joystick.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that the Whack-A-Mole game was ludicrously easy for what it was supposed to do. Like it was, or the other one was like the Wood Guy Jr. and Wood Gal Jr. Like these kind of twitchy things, but like playing it on the WASD format, I think made it very easy. And then there were definitely some other ones like the golf game where it's like this was like it's like a top down, and it was impossible to move the cursor around accurately.
Yeah,
so
I could see that.
Minor complaint.
Yeah. I just used my controller.
Yeah, I mean, like my thing is I actually get motion sick if I play a first person game with a controller.
Interesting.
I don't know why that is.
Huh.
Like it's something that I like. I won't notice it immediately, but after I've been doing it for a few minutes, like something about moving a first person thing with a controller, I start feeling a little ill. I don't know why.
Maybe it's just you're a little further back and that's doing something. I don't know. Like instead of being a lot closer up to the screen, so that's all you're seeing. Like stepping further back, you're seeing like more of this static around you, and then this is moving just right forward. I don't know.
No, that makes a lot of sense too, because like I don't like playing first-person games on like my TV, like on a console either. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, technically, the arcade games aren't, first person. I could have just switched to a controller while I was playing the arcade games.
But still,
yeah,
I feel you.
But anyway, that was Arcade Paradise. A good game.
It was a good game. I really enjoyed it for a second time because it was like my game of what have you been playing? I don't know, 6 months ago or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Very fun. Just as enjoyable to go through a second time. Although that like mid-game slog of trying to get the arcade actually running, I did not enjoy that. Like as soon as I got back in, I was like, oh, that's right, the fucking safe. Like, this is annoying as hell. That was my first goal.
I think it would be interesting to replay. Like, one thing that could make this very replayable is if they randomized what consoles you get in what order.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they do that, but I imagine they can't because, like, the space and stuff. or not or cabinets, because there are definitely some of those cabinets are pretty much the same sizes, like the standard cabinet sizes. That could have been an interesting idea.
It could be cool to see that, or if you could get like customer feedback, like customers could request, like, we'd like to see more action games at the arcade, things like that. So you're doing a lot more of that business sim management side of things.
Yeah, I could have used some of that, like just more like, like, oh, there's a big lineup in front of this machine, so maybe move it so it's not in front of like a footpath or that sort of thing. Like,
but again, that kind of shows that was never the point of this. All of that was just a framework for them making an arcade games collection.
Yeah. And those are all really good. Like I said, the only ones that were really let down were the ones where, and this was all made in Unity, so maybe this is a Unity problem, but anything that was relying on there being like a physics thing, like the pool and the foosball and the air hockey, just was very unworkable.
Are we still all enraged at Unity? Is that I haven't kept up. Have they fully backtracked on that, or are they just hoping?
Oh no,
to plow
they've
through?
even got one better. After making $566 million of revenue this past quarter, they've announced that they will likely lay off several hundred people.
Dope, cool.
Before the end of the year.
Cool, love it.
So
love it. Jesus Christ.
All right. So let's take a break real quick, and then we can get to the news.
Yeah.
Are you all right? What's that face?
Yeah, well, so I realized we're generally around the time where like we unwind, and if I haven't already had a drink, I'll grab a drink. So I didn't have any beer, and there was this black box Chardonnay, little mini container, just in plastic. And then I didn't have a proper glass, so I just grabbed this water glass, this pint glass that I was using, and it's not full. It's not even like, it's about a third of the way full of it. And it is fouler than like the big box of it.
Was it refrigerated?
Yeah, it's refrigerated, so it's at least like so cold that I can't taste all of it. But
yeah, that's what you have to do with that sort of thing. Yeah, drinking cardboard box wine out of a pint glass is a kind of energy that I don't think I have or am capable of having.
Well, I'm having it today. This is going to be my boss's fault for not calling me at noon as we had scheduled, when she gets a less professional absolutely. Michael on the line.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere
in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Yes.
In Iceland.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So what do we got for news, Mike?
It's going to be a very cash chat sesh between the two of us here, kind of a chill hang. Okay. What I've got is this article I linked to you yesterday. And
the Game Awards.
The Game Awards nominations have come out. Voting is open. So I thought we could just kind of chat. Go through and look at the nominees. We don't have to go through every category, but at least the first, 5 or 6 categories. See if we've got any thoughts about them. And then we probably won't get to it, but I just want to shout out Chants of Sennaar. It made the list.
It is one of 2 games in the awards that I've actually played. So.
Oh, I've played a lot of these, and I'm trying to find the way they worded the list for like Chants of Sennaar coming into it right now. I'm just gonna have to do a little.
I believe it was.
But it's like social games that like spread social messages. Games for impact. That's it.
Yeah, games. That's open enough to interpretation, I guess.
Yeah. The other site that I was looking, the other site I was looking at said impactful games that spread a positive social message. And I was like, that's a long category. Games for impact. I like that. Good job, Variety.
All right. Yeah. So let's get started. Do we start with the big stuff first? Just do the.
Why not? Game of the year. Obviously, first up on Game of the Year is going to be, like every other category, Starfield. We all know it's the biggest thing that's ever come out, right? Oh,
is that on the list?
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. No, it's not on any of these. Weird. We might have to talk about that in a little bit.
It was nominated for Best RPG.
Oh, we were going to get to that in a
moment.
Which
it will lose. It will certainly not
Jesus
be
Christ,
that.
It will lose. And I don't mean to hate on it too bad, but like, come on.
No, like, I mean, I have played very few of these games, and I like Starfield. But this year was just a year where Starfield had no chance. And also, it was just kind of good. It was not great. And great wins awards, and good is not great.
It was a boff, not a bop. Yes.
Yeah?
Let's just say yeah. That's a saying now. But Game of the Year. So we've got up Alan Wake 2, which I told you I was playing. I've actually set it aside for right now so that we can maybe play it again later, and some of it will still be new and surprising to me.
Didn't that game just come out like a couple weeks ago, though?
It did.
How has anyone played it enough to feel it is worth a nomination?
I think it's getting a little bit of that like new game smell feeling going on, you know? Like it's different than anything else that's come out this year so far, in the way that it plays, and I think that just feels very refreshing when there's so much open world, like, just coming about. But I think Game of the Year is kind of...
open world games got nominated for anything.
Not too many, although, all right, we have Baldur's Gate 3, open world game. I mean, within a different setup, but I would argue...
if that's an open world game, then, like, I don't know. Is Neverwinter Nights an open world game, then?
No, because I don't think you have access to every location. And I'm going to retract that for that, because you don't have access to every location in BG3 from the beginning.
You unlock stuff with the axe.
Although that's not completely, like, uncommon in even true open world games, like your Far Cries and stuff. You'll have, like, the starting island, and then it expands
that's true,
out.
But I guess the difference is that, like, I don't know. It's like what's the quote about pornography? Like, I don't know what it is, but I know it when I see it.
Yep. Or bad wine. I can't tell you what it is by looking at it, but I'll know it when I taste it. Oof.
Yeah, it looks like piss.
It tastes worse than piss. Oh, and immediate heartburn too. All right, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I have not gotten to play this yet. I'm going to be getting
also best game still, right?
Yes, this is still for Game of the Year. This is on my top list of games that I'm most excited to play. I recently went back and played the first Insomniac Spider-Man along with Miles Morales and all the DLC in between. And God, it was just so good. The art of it, the voice acting, the in-game cinematography of all of it just fucking nailed it. And yeah, Spider-Man's one of my favorite heroes anyway, so just being able to swing, like, it is easily my favorite traversal system of any traversal system is swinging around. It just feels so right. Like, especially when you start to learn how to time things to where, like, I'm going to land exactly on that spot of that roof. Like, oh, it just clicks with something in my brain I love.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am very excited for whenever that comes out on PC.
It's going to be a few years. I'm going to go ahead and get a PS5 in the meantime because I'm not waiting.
I don't know. I think that the lead time for Final Fantasy 16 is only 6 months. So maybe PlayStation's.
They said, I don't know. I read something that maybe end of 2024, which really means like mid 2025. And I'm just not going to wait until like spring of 2025 to play the next Spider-Man game.
I just also can't justify buying a PS5 for Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2.
Well, I'm not. No, it's also for Demon Souls. So for me,
I played Demon Souls before there ever was a Dark Souls, and I remember talking to the guy at fucking EB Games or Funkoland or whatever the fuck it was, and being like, "Man, dude, this game sucked." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know how people play that game."
I'm very excited.
Obviously,
I'm very excited.
Obviously, we both ate that. You know, we were both very wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, from what I understand from the original way the game played, it's evolved a lot through the Dark Souls series.
Yeah, I'm absolutely.
I don't remember. Did Kingsfield come out before or after Demon Souls in their history?
Don't know. I don't know if I ever played Kingsfield. Doesn't sound familiar.
So still going through the game of the year list. We've got Resident Evil 4, the remake. They didn't just like make a new one and call it the name of an old one. But I enjoyed that.
Say of the games of the year that have been nominated, I think like Resi 4 is the one that I've heard the least about. Like I feel like when it came out, I heard some stuff about it, but it's really like died down. I forgot that was this year even.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see it on the Game of the Year list. Like it's a solid remake. It's very fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've gone back through now and played through the entire Resident Evil series over the last like year or so because I missed them the first time around because I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to horror games. And I enjoyed it. I don't think it was my favorite of them. I think maybe that would be 2 for me. But I thought it was really well done. I don't think it was Game of the Year worthy, personally, myself. But I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Another late entry into the Game of the Year was Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which I'm still having a blast playing through, but I'm enjoying it in small little increments where, I got a little bit of time to kill. Let me do a stage or two. I'm not sitting there devouring it like I was with a Spider-Man style game or the new Alan Wake or Baldur's Gate 3. I'm surprised to see it also on the Game of the Year list. I wonder how much of that is
also
like the
came
Nintendo.
Out very recently.
Yes, like in the last 2 weeks, as of recording right now. I also think it's getting like a weird nostalgia bump, like Resident Evil 4 is there. I don't know if it deserves to be on the Game of the Year list, but I don't know. We'll see where the voting goes.
Yeah, I think all the games on this are sequels. Well, they're all sequels.
Yes, they are all sequels.
Or in a series.
There's not an original like first entry in the Game of the Year category this year. Interesting, huh? Well, that kind of brings us to the next one, which is the last Game of the Year nominee, which is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which, yeah, no shit. Like, that one probably, it's going to be between that and Baldur's Gate 3, in my opinion, are going to be the ones to take home, like, the big prizes. You can go right into that from best game direction. It's the exact same list in the exact same order. Like, it's really weird how they did that.
Well, actually, there's one less because Resident Evil 4 did.
Oh, you're right. Resident Evil 4 didn't make it for game direction. Huh.
I think they probably I think it's just they only have 6 for best game of the year, and then everything else is 5 nominees.
Yeah.
So that's probably going.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. As far as game of the year goes, though, what of those like feels strong to? I guess what of those have you played then?
I mean, I haven't actually played any of them. I've watched I've watched over the shoulder of my brother-in-law as he played Baldur's Gate 3, and for what I've read about what I've seen of it on like YouTube from content creators and all that jazz, that seems like the clear favorite and has for months. So I will be very surprised and then also at the Joystick Awards, I think that was the other one. Baldur's Gate cleared up. Yeah. I think it won 8 awards. So I am going to have to say, for all the categories that Baldur's Gate is nominated for, it's probably my favorite. So, yeah.
It's I'm looking at some of these categories. So, like for best narrative, you've got Cyberpunk 2077: Phantom Liberty, which, while I've said I enjoyed the changes they've made to 2.0 for Cyberpunk, I have yet to get into the story of Phantom Liberty. I've just been thoroughly enjoying doing a fresh replay of that whole game, so I will get there at some point. I can't speak to that. But Baldur's Gate 3, probably going to win that one. I know friends that
Yeah.
are very much enjoying FF16, but I haven't heard them say like it's the best story that we've had ever.
No,
That's
exactly. I haven't heard, and not of the positive things I've heard about 16. The story is not one of those things.
yeah. That's
Not
probably
that
gonna
I've heard
still
anything negative about it, but
No, I haven't heard. I've heard negative things, but more from people that just wanted a different type of Final Fantasy game, and just didn't like the direction this went. As far as a Final Fantasy game with like the best story, that's probably going to be 9 with its like very heavy Scientology storyline.
that's a lot to unpack, and I don't know if we want to
So
like just kind of halt the podcast for a while.
No,
and
no,
just
we can
go through that box of.
I feel like at some
of
point we will do a much deeper dive into the Final Fantasy series as a whole. So that's fine. We can just set that one aside for now, and we'll put a bow on it later. But I'm going through some of this here, and yeah, I think you're right. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to clear up. The only one I'd push back on is for best narrative. Baldur's Gate 3 definitely has a mood, and the narrative is fun. It's not a narrative I haven't heard before from a D&D game, right? It's just been told.
When was the last time
well.
there was a D&D game? It's been like 20 years since Baldur's Gate 2. Yeah. It's been almost 20 years since Neverwinter Nights 2. Like and also D&D is hot shit right now. Like
that's true.
I just, if there is a time for a D&D game to win a narrative award, it is now.
Alan Wake 2's so good right now. Like narratively, I think it's very strong. I don't know.
You'll get all those David Lynch fans in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Baldur's Gate was not nominated for Best Art Direction.
I can see that.
It was. It's a very, very good adaptation of the same Forgotten Realms we've already seen.
Yep. It's a really well polished version of their Divinity engine. Which I don't know if they reconstructed fully for this. I know they pieced together some of it from Div 2, but it's pretty. It's really pretty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what we got for Best Art Direction is Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. And Hi-Fi Rush, which I believe is like a spiritual successor to the old Jet Set Radio games, is actually nominated for a few things on here in this game. Maybe that's something we should play for the podcast, because I honestly kind of forgot it existed until I noticed it was nominated for a bunch of stuff.
I forgot it existed too until maybe last week, and then started seeing a bunch of stuff about it everywhere I was looking. And between the art style of it, and I didn't realize as much of an action game as it was. I thought it was going to be more of an adventure game, which is fine, but I'm really interested in checking it out. So yeah.
Oh no, this is not. Oh no, it is. It's got some skateboarding sections. I don't.
Yeah, it's a lot of like
rollerblading.
grinding. I think through like the city, like on rail grinding movement.
Definitely looks interesting.
Yeah, I like those old games.
Best audio design. Did they remaster Dead Space this year?
Yeah, they did.
Oh god, I thought that felt like that was ages ago. God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so that one got nominated.
I think it was early in the year when it came out.
Design. Best performance. They.
Yep, you got your Baldur's Gate 3, which again, I haven't seen Phantom Liberty's content yet from Cyberpunk. Idris Elba is great in almost everything he does. Almost.
I don't understand. Idris Elba is like the most talented person on earth, but with like the world's worst agent. Like I just don't get why he's in so much crap.
I don't know, but man, it's gotten him a lot of name recognition. Like in just a few short years.
I mean, not that. I mean, it's been when did The Wire come out? 2004. It's been almost 20 years.
Fuck my hands! I'm so old. Shit. You're right. God damn it. I was a Ute back then. Oh God.
But yeah, no. I hope he wins. Hope. Well, actually, I don't know. I think the Baldur's Gate 3. Again, what I've seen of the voice acting in that, it's really good. So,
Yeah, it is really good. That one would not surprise me at all. Jedi Survivor was really fun too, though, but it was, I don't know, it was a little too moody for me. I want to see a non-Jedi based Star Wars game like really take off.
Well, we got that Outlaws game coming out next year. Granted, it's an Ubisoft open world joint, so it'll probably be like as bland as saltine crackers, but
yeah,
that could be something.
Maybe. Or they'll just like cancel it for a tax write-off. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like we need to pour more money into that pirate game we're making. What is that called?
Skull and Bones. That's never going to come out.
Skull and Bones. Yeah, the game they've been working on since. I mean, or freaking black. I can't want to say Black and White. Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how Ubisoft has these studios that apparently have just been working on games for
because they've got like
decade,
20 studios
like
around
the same
world.
Game.
So the Good and Evil team is like 5 people in like Finland. That's it. They're just plugging
I think they're
away.
all in France.
Or Quebec.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think they. So this was an interesting category. They have best ongoing. So to me, this makes this thing. I think of like service games like your Command Call of Duties, and so the nominees are Apex Legends, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, right, and then Cyberpunk 2077 and Final Fantasy 16. I don't know that those fit with that category, at least my understanding of that category.
Yeah,
so, I haven't played Final Fantasy 16, but I played Cyberpunk 2077, and aside from new content, it's not an ongoing game service. There's no microtransactions. There's no multiplayer component. I would not categorize it as that at all.
I was trying to think, are there weekly challenges that get updated? I don't think so.
No, I mean Hitman does that, but even then I probably wouldn't call Hitman an ongoing game.
I guess if you want to call it an ongoing game, like as if No Man's Sky is an ongoing game because they're still trying to make the game they promised people. Like,
which did get nominated for Best Community Support.
Yeah, that one's fair. Like they've really flipped the story around on that for anyone who wants to give them a try. That game is so much fun. But
yeah.
I wouldn't call those service games at all though.
Yeah. So the best independent game, which is not the same thing as the best debut indie game. I guess that's for like a new game, like a developer's making their first game as their debut. But best independent game, I think I can tell who's going to win this. You have Cocoon, Dredge, Sea of Stars, Viewfinder, and Dave the Diver. And I feel like I've just seen tons of stuff about Dave the Diver.
Which is a shame because Dredge was so good. But
yeah, I mean, that's another one we have on the list to play for the podcast.
Yes, we do.
But
we'll get to it.
Problem is,
some point.
We only do one a game a week. Like, we just can't keep up.
That's the problem. We need to be doing more games each week.
Just two episodes a week. You can do it.
Oh, God. We'll start with the Yakuza series, just 2 a week.
That's the problem. We're almost finished with it, and they've released 2 more goddamn games.
I know.
Or 1 more, and then 1 will be...
It's all right. A couple more weeks, we'll have Misc coming on. That'll be good.
Yeah. So VR, I have nothing to say about. Mobile, I have nothing to say about. Action game, I don't even know how you really differentiate an action from an action adventure. Like, those are 2 separate categories.
Yep.
Like, I don't... I mean, that's a problem because I've been trying to I went through our games list and added genres. Our games list, by the way, being our list of games we want to do for this podcast, and added the genres according to what Steam lists them as. And I honestly, I don't know what an action game is anymore, other than I know what's not an action game. Like, Civilization is not an action game.
Right.
But, anything's an action game.
I think what they're trying to do here... by having an action game category and an action adventure game category is try to differentiate between a game that is the primary focus of the game is combat and, of some sort within the game versus a game whose primary focus is jointly combat and narrative driven.
I see.
Yeah. That would be my, because everything on the action adventure game list has as much story beat to it as it does combat beat.
And what makes it an RPG at this point? I mean, like,
no one knows anymore. Nobody knows anymore. It's just become an industry buzz term.
Because I think everything's kind of like, not to complain, but like Jedi Survivor, and like you have like skill trees, or not skill trees, but like
you level up, you put in points. No, there's literally a skill tree as well. Like, yes.
Yeah, so like it's an RPG, right? But it's not. Because Baldur's Gate 3 is definitely an RPG. But why is Final Fantasy 16 not an action game? I mean, certainly it's an RPG as well. And I don't know. And Starfield, why is that like that could be an action game as much as it could be an RPG?
Action adventure. They really try to lean into the story of it.
Yeah, like I these categories are whatever. I don't know. This is why you don't have genre categories for like films. Like you don't have like best comedy anymore.
Right. They really need to condense these into like the first 5 or 6. That makes sense. It's best audio design, best direction, like best game overall, best narrative. That's all great. But yeah, once you're getting into genres, I guess fighting game. I don't know, because then I get it. I get it for a fighting game.
But also, like, I know what a fighting game is. Like, there's definitely like this is not a fighting game. This is a fighting game. But there's not really that many fighting games that get released, and like we have just 1 or 2 series now that dominate the entire industry. So it's like, did a Tekken or a Street Fighter or a Soul Calibur come out this year? Then I guess we can, or Mortal Kombat, like it's one of those 4, or they'll maybe throw Super Smash in there somewhere too. It just seems like a needless. But at the same time, what genre would it win in? Like,
no, you're right, because best sim strategy game. I mean, City Skylines 2 just came out. That's arguably not accurate for it to be in that category right just yet. I don't know. Maybe it is. Advance Wars 1 and 2.
And then why is Fire Emblem Engage in the sim strategy and not in the RPG section?
Right.
Like Fire Emblem is a role-playing game. Like that is a role-playing game.
But it's also strategy for combat. Because you move on tile.
It's tactical. It's isn't
tactical.
strategical.
Ooh, we need a tactical category.
I think that's a big difference. Yeah, well, I think it's a difference. Like, it is a tactical RPG.
I don't argue.
Strategy to me means you need to like maintain resources, and you worry about supplies as much as combat, right? But tactical just means it's a form of combat. Like, remove the grid, and Fire Emblem is not that different from a Baldur's Gate or any other CRPG. These categories are dumb.
They are dumb. Categories are stupid, and we should never put anything into a category, ever. Fuck ontology. That's what I'm saying right here, right now. All the metaphysics, just get them out of here.
All right. Here's some less disputable categories.
Oh God, are we going into the esport people? Because I have no tolerance for this.
Oh, I have no idea either. I was just going to go with most anticipated game. I feel that's something we can both opine on.
That's fair.
So, I look forward to all these. We got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the sequel to the remake, or the second part.
It's the remix to Ignition, right?
That's an album title or something. That's a song. Yeah. What is that you just said?
It's a no longer popular song because the artist did some things. We can skip right over that joke.
Then we've got Hades 2.
Which I did not know.
Yeah, I knew that they were working on it. I mean, I guess like that's all they have to say is like we're going to make it. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is Yakuza 8.5, I guess, is if we're going by that numbering. Star Wars Outlaws, which is the aforementioned Ubisoft open world, not Jedi game. And Tekken 8. But so I mean, I don't know. I guess
I gotta say, when I heard Tekken 8 was coming out, I actually got like giddy. Like I think I'm gonna get really into Tekken. Go back to my old childhood, like middle school. Tekken 2, Tekken 3 was my life. So
absolutely,
I'm ready to get back into one.
Yeah, I played a lot of. I didn't play a lot of 7 or 6, but I like Tekken. keep abreast of it. But no, for me, I think that I am probably most looking forward to. Well, it depends on what you're saying, because I have. There's no doubt in my mind that Hades 2 will be an excellent game. And I really liked the Final Fantasy 7, but they could also, like, Tetsuro Nomura could make things very Nomura-y, and if like it's like at that. The way I view the Final Fantasy 7 remakes is that, like, they're basically like the new Star Wars movies after The Force Awakens, and like all I can see is potential. And there's a very good chance that it goes the other direction. And I love the Yakuza game. Like I'm very looking forward to that. Now that we know that there's like an Animal Crossing component to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. I'm excited to get to play it because that means I will have finally played everything up to that point, which is very exciting. I'm getting deeper and deeper into the story. And I'm just enjoying it more and more. But no, I guess if I had to pick one, because I am very worried about Star Wars Outlaws. God, I hope they do it right. But I don't know. Absolutely. But Hades 2 is my safe choice. Like, they're not going to mess that up. It's going to be good. And even if it's just more of the same, that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, Hades, whatever year Hades 2 Hades came out, it was, you know, my definitely my game of the year, and I can't see them. I mean, also Supergiant has just never made a bad game. Yeah, like they only know how to make good games.
Yeah,
so.
We've covered what was it, Pyre on here as well. We did Pyre.
Yeah, Pyre, Transistor,
Bastion, all great. It kind of passes one of those tests for me, which is I know I really like a game when it is on multiple consoles that I own.
Yeah, when I've bought it more than once, I mean, same thing with Hollow Knight. I noticed that Hollow Knight, the sequel to Hollow Knight, is not on the but I guess that's because it's kind of starting to develop a bit of a vaporware reputation at this point. Like, that was probably like my game I'm looking forward to most from 3 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, lockdown kind of affected a lot of game studios in ways that I think that's why we see this year being such a big year in general, is because there's a lot of games that kind of got shelved on development a little bit, and they're all just coming out in this 1 year span, which is bad for some studios because they worked really hard and they probably should have been the game of the year recognized, right? And now all of these big games are all out at the same time, but I don't know. It's just the way it goes. Yeah.
You're very right. Like, there are like games that weren't even nominated for Game of the Year that I feel in another year would have won the Jedi Survivor wasn't even nominated for Game of the Year, but there are definitely years where I feel it could have won Game of the Year. You know. Yeah, lots to look forward to as well too. And also because I haven't played most of these games, so I have a lot to look forward to. You know? All these good games I haven't played yet.
Yeah, I think actually everything except for Spider-Man 2 on the best game of the year category, I have actually played, if not all of it, a little bit of it. Yeah, everything but Spider-Man 2. So maybe before the end of the year, I'll have a chance to play that one too. But everything else, I'm really looking forward to seeing the way the nominations shake out. I'm going to be doing my part and vote. Will you do your part? I don't know why I just immediately went to Starship Troopers, but
why not?
I don't know.
No, I don't know. I think I tried to vote and it asked for my email and I was like, no.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. If it asks for an email, I'm not taking part in it at all. I'm too lazy anymore to even have like a secondary dump email for junk. I just have my email now.
Well, the problem is I used my secondary dump email for something that was like useful, and now I just don't have a dump
use it.
Email, so.
Yeah.
But what did you play this week?
What did I play this week? Interesting. Well, you know, I played a little bit more of Alan Wake 2, like I said before I realized we're probably going to do Alan Wake Control and Alan Wake 2 in its own little, like, over a few months next year.
Yeah, wasn't there was another Remedy game that they made between, what was that called?
It's the ship one. It is
the one that was a tie-in for a TV show.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, is that part of the same like setting? Quantum.
It might be. Wasn't
What was that
Quantum
called?
Rain?
God.
Jesus Christ, that's heavy rain and oof.
What the hell was that called? Remedy
Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap, the TV show. No. Yes.
It was why can't I remember? Quantum Break.
Quantum Break. Yes. I forgot that exists. That was part of like the interactive PlayStation 5, like it first came out. It was like, you're going to get to play the game and then make choices for the show and then play those choices in the game. And
Xbox One.
It was an Xbox, whatever it was. I was not impressed at all by the concept. Like the moment you've got a gimmick like that, I was like, no, let's not do that. That's like, was it called Fallen Skies or something? There was going to be like a mashup. Or no, it wasn't Fallen Skies.
Yeah.
It was the other aliens come through into like St. Louis or something. And now there's like years later a post-colony like St. Louis that's at war. And they had an MMO that was going to match up with the show. And then the things you did in both like changed both. And then it got canceled. And then the MMO was bad.
Yeah, that was some executive had like a lot of clout and a very bad idea.
Yes. Yes, like most. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I look forward to playing this. I replayed Alan Wake, the first one, not that long ago. So, I might just skip to Control. Cuz
yeah, fair enough.
As much as I liked, I mean, I've already played Alan Wake twice at this point, and I feel like it would do it a disservice if I played it again.
Yeah.
Because I already felt some diminishing returns on the second play.
No, that's totally fair.
Even though it is an older game.
Maybe that's what we do is when we do talk about them, we do Control first, and then when we do Alan Wake 2, we just kind of take a look back on the Alan Wake series as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Also, like, I personally, like, I find the kind of Twin Peaksy shtick runs a little short with me sometimes, or at least less long than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So, as much as I mean, don't get me wrong, I really liked Alan Wake. I think it's a very important game that should go on the big list of games. But it's also like teetering on like me starting to get annoyed by things.
It's one of those weird like transitory games as far as mechanics went. From moving to like older games into newer games, it's in that awkward growth spurt phase.
Yeah, like that, like HD era. I guess is like the where you really had to like have huge studios and stuff like that, just because of all the amount of environmental work you had to do for everything.
Yep.
Because every room is in 3D and every room is in HD now, so you can't just have a block that has a picture of a telephone on it and be like, that's a telephone. So yeah, what, do you play anything else? Is that it?
No, I did play one other game. It's early days, so this isn't my final critical review of it. But as I alluded to earlier, I had Epic Games and Ubisoft open like as tasks in the background, even though I'd closed everything, and they just wouldn't fucking close on me, and it was slowing down everything, and my system was freezing. I played Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it is probably the best Assassin's Creed game I've played in a very long time. It is stripped away all of the bullshit mechanics, all the extra stuff. It is ungamified a lot of itself and brought it back to, you're pickpocketing, you are like ripping posters down of yourself around this area. It is focused on Baghdad and the outlying areas of Baghdad, and that is it. Very fun. Most beautiful of the AC games like that. I mean, now granted, I got RTX, I've got the HDR going. Like, it's
also a new engine.
I didn't know it was a new engine, but yeah, it is gorgeous. Like walking into a mosque and it's got this like latticed window and you walk through and the sun hits just right and the lattice like pattern is all over you and everything around. Like they have done such a good job on detail. I can see a flock of birds flying in the distance and the wing flaps like individually are working. Like they have nailed the aesthetic to where I'm finding myself just walking around enjoying, which is something I haven't done in the last 2 AC games. I'm enjoying it a lot.
I mean, that's a good point. Like, I definitely remember doing that in Origins, the Egypt one, and to a lesser extent in the Greece one, because I think that they went a little silly with the Greece one.
Yeah.
It's very, very exaggerated. And then in Valhalla, it's like 9th century England is very hard to make look majestic. So they kind of like didn't bother, which is fair.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of just mud huts and maybe some nice trees.
And yes, while there is definitely a color scheme that washes onto like the golden hour side that can become a little too much, everything pops around it in a really good way. I'm just enjoying it so much more than I have an Assassin's Creed game in a long time. And they finally have started to drop away that framework narratively that I've hated since the beginning. Like there's still synchronization to a degree here and there. Like it's the loading screen basically, but I haven't played too much in. But as much as I've played into it, it starts with a guy telling you how they're going to tell you the story of an assassin you've never heard of. And it has that entire, like, you're going into the Matrix kind of look. And then it hasn't touched back on that one more time at all.
Well, he's in Valhalla. The character you play is Basim.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So, I mean, they might not need to do framing network stuff,
I just hope that there isn't going to be I haven't had any sequence where I leave the Animus machine as another person and like walk around an office for 5 minutes and talk to people to go back into the Animus machine. Like that's the stuff I hate.
I liked that.
I liked it when you played as Miles for that because that actually like he was doing stuff because he'd learned the skills and now he can stealth and parkour and like move around and that was fun. But
well, you do that in Origins.
You do it in Origins a little bit with that researcher. Yeah. Yeah,
no, but you're right. In Valhalla, certainly, they just kind of made it a conversation hub. But I think you make a good point. Like, I think it'd be better if they did more with it as opposed to just make it basically interactive cutscenes.
I still want to see that like AC 2099 or something, and it's just like an Assassin's Creed, like. They're still operating, trying to stop, the Crusaders, wherever the fuck they are, trying to, control the world. I don't know, it would just be fun.
Yeah. Also, I think that the Assassin's Creed storyline has gotten a lot less fun now that it's just like, like that a lot of that language is certainly used by a lot of really nasty political people.
I was so nervous when I loaded everything up and I was like, all right, I know this is like, it's called Mirage. It takes place in Baghdad. And like one of the first places you go to is the Great Mosque. And I was like, oh God, if they fuck up any of this is going to be so cringy and bad. I'm not going to be able to play it. And so far they've done a very good job. Like they are handling it well. But
no, that's good to hear.
Yeah. No, highly recommend so far. We'll see how I feel next week.
Yeah. Oh, that's the problem. I will certainly look forward to it coming on sale at some point.
Yeah. Fair.
So that I can keep up my my habit of being 2 years behind on video games in general.
I mean, it's already priced $10 cheaper than most games. It was $49.99 instead of.
Well, yeah. That's because it started out as a DLC for Valhalla, and then they were like, oh, no, let's just make it on the new engine we're working on, which is smart.
Yeah, it was smart of them. And I like it being a smaller game because you get to focus on more of the narrative, right? It doesn't feel like... Problem with Valhalla and all of them is just they were too fucking big. Like, I've never beaten Odyssey. It's too big. It's too big to play through all of it.
I will say, like, I have a very, like I mentioned before, I have a pretty high grind tolerance, and I will just do whatever quest someone throws in front of me, and I couldn't handle Odyssey. But it wasn't actually, like, the bigness of Odyssey itself that like, poisoned it for me. It was the, there's a DLC where you go through different layers of Hades or whatever, or, like, Afterlife. And that was so tedious and repetitive, and I knew where it was going from the beginning, and it took 40 hours, and it felt like an MMO, but without any of the fun parts of an MMO. And, like, I could have jumped around the Greek islands killing pirates for, hours. But as soon as you stick me in, like, a fire pit and I have to fight fire dogs, and there's fire zombies, and then there's a fireman, like, I just... Yeah, I check out. Especially because, like, the thing that makes Assassin's Creed fun is the historical stuff of it, not when you want to be God of War. Like, I think that's the problem, is that Assassin's Creed has spent so much effort trying to be The Witcher or God of War and not trying to be Assassin's Creed. So maybe that's what Mirage is them.
It feels
focusing on
like
their
Assassin's
strengths.
Creed. Yeah. I have yet to find a specialty vendor that sells you, like, uber legendary gear that you'll never need your old gear again the moment you grab one of them. Like, haven't found it at all. If it exists, I'm going to be really disappointed. But so far, this feels pure.
Offers a different piece once a week for some special currency that you have to get.
I've only seen, like, for that, I've only seen the weekly photo location, which I'm fine with because it's all, like, historical photo sites that you go to. And, like, I am looking forward to taking the historical tour in this game because it's so pretty.
Those are cool in concept. Let's not get into that. But I played World of Warcraft this week. I threatened it before. I started playing Dragonflight. It's still World of Warcraft, so there's all that. But I have to say, like, Dragonflight as an like, my experience so far, initially it was like a couple hours of me just, like, emptying out my bags, cleaning out my quest log, trying to remember, like, how I play the goddamn game, throwing stuff out, trying to remember what I'm supposed to do, all that jazz, rearranging my UI, like, just, all kinds of crap. I am a person who's played WoW for many, many years, and going back to it was very difficult because of all this crap that I had to, like, sort through and remember what all this was. If I was a new player, I don't know what the hell I would do. Like, I don't know. I assume you don't have, like, certainly not the quest log and bag space and all that other stuff that accumulates from playing the game, but, like, the UI is just so... I mean, it's an MMO UI, but it feels like this barrier between you and the game. It's like you're wearing like those sunglasses that have like the things in the way, so you can't see properly. But anyway, but once I got to the new expansion and I started playing it, it's actually really fun. It's very relaxing. Like, it feels like everyone's just kind of having it feels like an episode of a Saturday morning cartoon where they're like, okay, we're done with the story arc where you guys had to fight demons in space, and we're not going to do the next story arc, so here's just you, like, hanging out in an arcade, and oh no, there's something fishy going on at the wharf or something.
The mangaka needs time to catch up to where the anime has gotten to. We gotta put some filler in here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and it's very chill. The music's like a lot of pan flutes and, like, banjos, but in a relaxing way.
Sorry, those two
and, like,
together. Oh, that's so folksy. This takes place in the South American Appalachia, I'm guessing.
Well, it's the Dragon Islands, so yes. Like, one of the early quests, you just sit with an old man while he tells you a story. Like, it's just and then another one you just have to like help a child fix their stuffed animal. And it's very low key. There's like the bad guys like are so I guess they're high stakes because everything in WoW is high stakes, but like I've never heard of these characters. They were created for this expansion, and I couldn't care less about what happens to any of them. So I just don't feel like I feel neither. It's not that I don't feel invested in it. It's just that I also don't feel like I care about what happens. Like there's just very
like narratively, it hasn't been earned for the stakes that they're trying to set forward.
Not even because I don't think they're trying to set very high stakes. It's just that like it's like in a TV show where you introduce a new character and you're like, oh, something bad might happen to them, and you're like, I don't actually care if this character that MacGyver just met this episode might die, but I might care if it's like a log-running show.
Very relevant.
This character.
Yes.
Well, whatever, man. I don't know. I was just. I was thinking about Stargate earlier, so like I had Richard D. Anderson on the brain, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a Stargate game coming out next month, by the way.
Ooh, I didn't know about that. That's exciting.
Yeah,
I just finished watching
RTS.
the whole series for like the 5th time, like just a couple months ago. So, yay.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
I didn't like the SGU like that. That was bad.
Oh yeah. I think it maybe could have gotten something toward the end, like they were going somewhere, but it just felt like we're just trying. Oh, Battlestar Galactica is a
it's
thing.
exactly
Let's
what
just
it felt like.
do that. Yeah, and I as much as I actually kind of like Battlestar Galactica, that like close up shaky camera thing that they do, ages very poorly.
Yes, it does. I don't like it.
No. Like, I didn't like it at the time, and now, like, when I can watch it on, like, a big, nice screen and stuff like that, like, it is so hard to watch sometimes. Like, I just want to, like, edit, like, someone can edit it so it's steady. That'd be amazing.
Give that guy a peanut butter sandwich, just like, he needs some more calories. He's got some shakes.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's supposed to, like, make it seem realistic, because it's, like, a handheld kind of a thing, but it just makes it seem like there's, like, the cameraman's, like, on like one of those vibrating beds from a hotel or something. But no, like I actually am really enjoying the World of Warcraft. This expansion. I don't know that this is necessarily like a good jumping on point by any means. I don't know that it's necessarily like getting back to its roots, but it does feel like a breather. There's a lot less systems. Like, there's no garrison thing you have to deal with. There's no dumb, like management mini quest stuff. Like, it's all just questing and reputations that you have to get. Like, the reputations you normally would like have to grind for in an expansion to do the other stuff is just the game. Like, it's just run around, do quests for people. There's a ton of them. There are so many quests. Like, you get through the leveling area, you level very quickly, and then there's just buckets of quests after that. So it's just, it's a nice chill time.
Nice.
And also the area is beautiful. Like, they just, like, with WoW expansions, you usually get like one or two really pretty areas, and then you have like a hell area and like a desert or something like that. You have to have your vegetables, I guess. And then this time they're like, wait, what if we just made all the areas beautiful and great to be in? And that's what this one is. It's just a lot of really beautiful scenery to run around in. And
that's kind of, that reminds me of in Burning Crusade. I'm horrible about remembering the areas, but there were a couple areas in Burning Crusades that was really pretty to go through. And it's like one of the first times you had like almost true freedom of flight from moving around and seeing things once you had the ability to. And I loved how the areas themselves looked so gorgeous to be around in, but they were the deadliest ones, like to actually be around in. And I liked that about it, where it's like it doesn't have to visually look dangerous for it to be dangerous.
Yeah, and that's another thing they added in this expansion is dragon riding, which I think will just kind of be the way like flight works going forward. But it's a much more active way of flying. So instead of just flying around like Minecraft in creative mode, where you just have like 6, axes that you can move around willy nilly. You actually have like forward momentum and like you glide and stuff like that. So it's a bit like in the Arkham games, where you have like that dive, fly up momentum, where you have to like maintain momentum without, so that you have like racing you can do with it, and it makes flying a much more active process, which might not be great for some, but it also, like, I feel like because it's a more active thing you have to do, it also encourages you to only use it sparingly. So instead of just like, like when I would have flying normally, I would just fly to where I'm going to go, drop down at the objective, kill the boss or whatever the thing, and fly away. Now I'm like, well, I have momentum, and like if I do that, then I might run into something I don't want to, because you don't have that ability to just land on a dime necessarily. So it encourages me to like fly to the area and then walk around there, and like when I'm in the city, instead of just flying to each vendor, I fly to a vendor or near one, and I walk places, because otherwise it would, because also you have a stamina mechanic with all this, so you don't want to wear your mount out.
Yeah.
So it encourages, like, without removing the freedom of having flying, it still encourages you to like sit in the space and like look at the buildings and look at the NPCs and hear the little, like, not hear, but read the text of like the NPC chatter conversations and that sort of thing. I think it was a smart way to do it,
because I definitely had one of those add-ons that like was for flight path, and you would just like go, like hit whatever it is, numlock or whatever button it was to like auto run / or whatever, and you would just go, and I would walk away and be like, all right, I got 3 minutes, I'm gonna go get like a coffee or something, and I would just go away, because it doesn't matter. Might as well be a long loading screen for me. That sounds more fun though.
Yeah, it is, and really, like, you have to, like, you interact with the environment so much more, because you have to like dive to like get that momentum to go back up. So now you're, instead of just like flying in a straight line, you're like, well, I can't go in a straight line because I need to dive at a certain point. So I want to go kind of like 45 degrees and dive, and then come around this mesa or something.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it really it adds. It's a small thing that adds a lot to like how you experience the setting. So I think it's actually pretty good. A nice little reprieve. It's like a diner scene after half the characters have been massacred, like Quentin Tarantino
yes,
movie.
And both the people in the movie and the audience get to take a moment to breathe. Yes.
Exactly.
Yep. Oh, that actually sounds fun. Like, not fun enough that I'm going to play WoW again, but I like traversal mechanics. That sounds like a fun one. I would like to experience the traversal mechanic. Maybe I'll have to go find some videos of it and watch some people do it.
Yeah, so from this at BlizzCon, this is going to be the way flying can or will work going forward. So you can still choose to have it work like the old style in the newer expansions, but you can also make it so that all mounts will do this, like dragon riding traversal movement, which I think will be fun going forward. Yeah. And hopefully that means also we'll get more like racing and stuff, and this won't be like
I can see hoops in the air where you're going to have to like hit them just right and swoop down, and
it's just like those Arkham AR missions with the gliding and everything.
Hell yeah.
It's just like that.
That sounds like a lot of fun. The Hogwarts Legacy did that really well with its broom riding as well.
Okay, you had that diving thing you had to do and everything?
You would pick up more speed, so you were doing races with other people. So also, the closer you were to the ground, it would not drain stamina from like your booster. But then it also made things like a little more sketchy, because you've got a lot of ground obstacles like trees and bridges to deal with. Yeah. So, yeah. I really wish they had done DLC for that game, but they're not going to do any. Just because it got too much flack. But
also, like, it's weird, because I was just thinking, not to, like, we're close to the end of the episode, but I will rant a little bit about.
Please do.
The new Call of Duty game, has been like, ridiculed by a lot of fans. Like, it is one of the worst ratings on Steam of any game ever right now. But it's not going to matter because it's going to sell tons and tons of copies, because people who play Call of Duty games aren't necessarily like people who are going to go and read every review. It's just like, oh, I play a game a few hours a week. The new version of that game I play is out. I'm going to buy it.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter the quality of it. And you have like an opposite effect, I think, where that casual market doesn't get picked up because the author is seems to be a very unnice person, or
a bigot. Yes.
Yeah. Or you have like the Marvel fatigue setting in.
Yeah.
Where like with Hogwarts, or with like Midnight Suns, or the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which were all critically received very, very well, because they don't have that casual fan base of like, oh, I'm going to pick this up. It's like, I don't know if I want to touch anything that's Harry Potter on it, or, oh man, if I see another Marvel logo, I'm going to puke. Like it actually is it's an example of when the buying that brand, or buying that franchise, or buying right into it, can actually hurt things. Like you like video games have a very, like, I was reading this article about why, like, someone at Rockstar was asked why they don't make Grand Theft Auto movies. Like, they're so cinematic, and like, why haven't you made a movie? It's like, we have never lost money on a game, the guy basically said. Like, in general, the video game industry is 80 to 90% like successes, while in the film industry, that like rate of success is much, much lower. So there's no impetus for us, especially when Grand Theft Auto prints money, like, to try and sink money into a movie, which can cost as much of a video game, but might not make the money back at all, when we can just make another video game which will make that money. And you can cut when you're hitching your video game to a movie like that. I feel like it should be the other way around. We should stop making video games based off of movies. We should just make movies based off of video games, because the video game is a much more viable product.
It is. It's
by itself.
It's like Bandersnatch in recent years tried to like break into the interactive movie market, which is cool. It's a cool idea, but the reason video games do so well narratively for those reasons is because it's baked into the way they work, that they are interactive with the audience already. It is uniquely special to video games that you, the audience member, are also part of the narrative in that way. And that's what makes them so much more special. I would love to see, like, they could probably make, just based off the story of it, a Red Dead Redemption series of movies. That would be great. They're not going to be as good as being like Arthur Morgan and like walking around camp drinking coffee and talking to people. Like, it's going to miss so much of the aesthetic and vibe of the game that I don't want to see that as a movie itself. Like, they could do fine, but although I will say Last of Us did a very good job with their adaptation. That was good. But stop.
Yeah, but
making
like
adaptations, guys.
Yeah, no, I guess what my point is that like the like for a long time the film was the pinnacle of a media thing. Like,
yes,
your thing isn't a thing until you can have the toy line, you can have the Saturday morning cartoon, you can have the pajamas and the bed sheets, but you're not a thing until you have the movie. Like, even Barbie recently. Like, you're not legitimate.
Yes, Barbie was never legitimate until the movie came out.
But
just
my point is just yeah. My point is just like I think that those winds are turning, and that like I don't know that. I think it's the other way around now. Now that if you are a thing that someone can make a video game off of and feel confident that that video game, that branding is going to add to the video game, that's a stronger brand than something that if you are going to try and add to a movie. Like, yeah, there's a higher failure rate, but also like I don't know. I feel like this is a turning point in like the way media works, in that the movie is no longer, well, at some point soon will no longer be the like apex media format,
the gold standard.
Yeah, the thing that, like, the Marvel movies made bajillions of dollars, but the Grand Theft Auto 6 will make even more.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, again, just look at oh God, Star Citizen. I blinked for a moment there. Like, theoretically, still not a game. It has made so much more than so many movies out there that have the same vibe, or games that have the same vibe.
Well, also, you have a middle market for a video game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a middle market for movies anymore. Like, things are indie stuff or things are blockbusters. There's no middle market. You have, but the video game as a medium has that room for the Yakuzas and the, I don't know,
Dave
like that
the
RoboCop
Divers
game. Granted,
RoboCop sounds like so much fun. I think I'm gonna have to grab it soon.
Yeah, granted, that is literally based off of a movie, so bad example.
I know, but still, it looks so fun.
Yeah, I want to play that as well.
Yeah. We'll probably cover that on here soon.
Rambly.
No, well, and to ramble on more favorite Zeppelin song, we should talk real quick about the Marvel thing, because I mentioned Namor was needed in the Marvel movies to save them, and I stand by that now that I have actually seen Black Panther 2. I'm trying my best to do my nerd diligence and go through and watch all the Marvel stuff I've missed. So I'm catching up on Loki right now, and I've seen Black Panther 2, and I'll see Secret Invasion at some point. Like, I'll watch that series. I think that might have actually come out before Loki, so maybe I should stop that and go do Secret Invasion.
No, that
first,
came out. No, Loki. The first season of Loki came out.
No, I'm talking about second season of Loki. I'm on now, so I should probably go back and do Secret Invasion and then go do Loki too.
Although,
but the point is that I just saw an article from Deadline like 2 days ago that was about how horrible the Marvels did in the box office.
Yeah.
I did not know they had a new Marvel movie come out, and I didn't know it was a sequel to Captain Marvel, or that like all of these characters that I've really enjoyed, like Kamala Khan, were in it. And I was just like, well, there's your problem, is like, I'm your market, and I didn't know that movie had come out. Like,
well, the big thing here is that there was a giant strike until 5 minutes ago. Yeah,
and you weren't allowed to talk about anything.
No one. We were all doing our job and not talking about these things. So, I think that the Marvels probably wouldn't have done particularly well anyway, because as much as I do like those characters, I think that what I've seen, like the trailers, visually it looks uninteresting, and I think that's kind of the thing. Marvel movies do well when they present a visually interesting thing. Like, if you can give me 15 seconds of a Marvel movie and I go, I know what movie that is, I know that character, that's one of the Marvel movies that does well. If I can see 15 seconds of Black Panther,
Doctor Strange,
of Ragnarok, of Doctor Strange, and I know exactly what it is. But if you show me 15 seconds of Ant-Man or whatever, I can't tell the difference between Thor 1 and Dark World apart, but I can tell you, the Eternals, you can tell what the Eternals look like.
You could not in this movie. I'm sorry, like, compared to reading the comics with you, like, no. That movie, I was like, what is this?
No, but I mean, they have a distinct language. I mean, granted that visual language is bad CGI, I guess. But I think it would behoove them to simplify and maybe just go, like, the next Marvel stuff should, like, that's the thing is, like, but this is another ramble, but like with the comics, they've always had this cycle of big fight thing, and then you go back to basics. Like, you have a big storyline where they're all the Avengers are fighting, the Beyond or whatever the crap, and then you give it some months, and then you're back to Iron Man struggling with his alcoholism.
Yep.
You have to have that up and down. Like, you can't just always be raising the stakes, because then everything, like DC does that, but they literally just explode the universe when they run out of ideas to start again. Marvel, they just refocus things, like Daredevil can literally get into an argument with the devil, and then like, okay, now he's just trying to pay his rent again. Like you need to be able to do that, and
which arguably might be a better story because it's more human interest.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and they've kind of had that ability, but I think like what symbolizes their inability to do that now is like was Quantumania, where even Ant-Man, which was like their down-home rom-com storyline, became a big, massive CGI army fighting.
Yeah.
Where that's just not what it's for. So like what they need to do is just take a step back, do a story of like, Daredevil and like Miss America, like following robbers in Iowa or something like that. And then
what it sounds like is, and I think we're on the same page with this, is that this precedent they've now set with Kamala Khan coming from the small screen to the big screen as a character and not replacing the actor between, right? Like it is, nope, this is the story. Like we're not going to pull The Flash and now have a different actor for the movies, and they allegedly might be a cult leader, or like something is weird going on there. Now we're fucked. But the fact that they're comfortable making that leap with the same character for continuity's sake, Defenders, do the Defenders on the big screen, like have all of them. I want, except for Iron Fist doesn't need to be there, unless like they should really rework the Iron Fist like whole like thing, because that just like fuck, Danny Rand was that was the worst version of Danny Rand I've ever seen portrayed. But everyone else did a fantastic job in their roles, and I would love to see them on the big screen. And I think the Defenders are a more interesting portrayal of superheroes because they still have powers, but they're not like Captain Marvel. Like they can't fly punch through a spaceship.
Well, Jessica Jones probably could if she could get over her vertigo.
Yes, if she could get over her vertigo, that's fair. But maybe could. We haven't seen like her power level at that. Like, but I would love to see Jessica Jones and Captain Marvel square off in like an anti-hero kind of way, like on the big screen. That would be
read the comics.
Really
that stuff happens all the time, man.
And that's probably why we're gonna go do comic episodes here again at some point.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I think we got the chops for it now.
I think that the saving grace is like they have X-Men coming down the pike. If they can just clear the board, like not have any overhanging plot, like just do whatever the crap they need to do with Kang, just take a step back and then just do some X-Men shit, then that's going to be their success going forward. If they can make people forget about how fucking bored they are of the same cosmic CGI fights, then they can get somewhere.
It's the CGI. I think that's what's really like, I don't want to be this asshole, but I'm getting more and more to the point where I'm watching one of these movies and I go, oh, cool. Now I'm just watching a video game cutscene for the next 20 minutes. It's like, I could just go play a video game, but like, give me practical effects. Like, give me real practical effects in so much of this. But the problem is that the heroes they've chosen to align themselves with as their main heroes, their powers visually have to be represented CGI based. Like, it's just. Well,
I mean, that's also the thing. It's like you're right. Like most of the power, like most of the main hero powers right now are just like I can shoot big lasers or I punch real hard.
Yeah,
you don't have.
I'll watch Dragon Ball Z if I want to see that.
I think, and also I think you have a good point because you're missing like your Fantastic Four or your X-Men where you have characters who can go invisible, where you have characters that can. Their powers are like entirely just psychic, so like their powers are dialogue based essentially, And
like, you could make really cool visual cues to them using their psychic abilities, like the show Legion did. I think they did that very well. Yeah. Instead of just like purple lines radiating from a glowing forehead, which is probably what they will do in this next one. I have no faith they're going to portray anyone accurately in this, but it's whatever.
No, I mean, it'll probably be 90% Wolverine anyway. They'll get some very bland...
The new game's coming out, so that they're going to want to, like,
guy.
tie it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll just, like, murder things, but they'll do it in some way so there's never any blood somehow.
He'll be British, but he'll do,
China.
like, a Martin Short-style American accent, and it's going to be, like, really offensive.
Absolutely, yeah.
But also accurate.
Yeah. Well, actually, Wolverine's Canadian, so like they could just get Dana Carvey or someone, or Mike Myers to do it.
Yes, there you go. Have him just dub the lines over the actual actor. Pull a Vader.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that was enough rough rambling.
That is probably
this, like, 20
enough.
minutes ago.
I know, but I need to get that off my chest because I'm getting really annoyed by seeing all these, like, why are the Marvels failing? It's like, oh, there's a lot of reasons why, and none of them are what you're listing. Like,
no, exactly. It's very, yeah. You can't play to the middle of the road. No matter what you do with film, you have to aim for something. You can't just. Anyway, and like the whole. Okay, we're done. Let's stop being old men.
Yeah, you don't get to hear our thoughts on this. We're going to hit stop here, and then we'll complain to each other after.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening to the podcast.
Hey, thanks.
If you liked it, you can leave a review or a comment or subscribe or download the, whatever thing you do
RSS
on whatever
feed if you're a freak like that. And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah. Or you can contact us at thesavestatepodcast@gmail.com or just at the Save State
Pod
on Save State Pod. Sorry, yes, on social media things.
Yeah, you can do that. And if you're not going to do it for us, do it for Scott Caratopoulos.
I was wondering if you'd remember that.
Yeah. Our number one fan. How could I forget? Love you, Scott.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know why I ended the wrong thing. I ended our call instead of hitting stop on the recording. I'm going to hit stop on the recording now.